Hello, welcome to the Snap UK. After last week's almost full house, we're back to what's been quite the standard this year, which is me and Jim.
Creme de la creme.
Exactly. It always rises to the top.
Exactly.
You know, and whereas a lot of the I don't know what, the chaff, busy working on Monday night. So
let's be honest. Gary's got the best excuse.
Yeah,
reef making.
His wife is reef. He's not even reef making. His wife is reef making.
I like the people to think he's the one that is reef making.
Yeah. The thing about Gary is he's very crafty.
He's good with his hands.
Yes.
That's why his wife married him.
Exactly. But yeah, Paul and Griff are both working because it's a Monday night. Because we're a bit early this week because I'm away.
It's actually your fault.
It's my fault. I'm working away Wednesday, and it's my final game for my Fat Lads League on Tuesday. So, first, it's too late, isn't it? You know.
Ironically, I would have struggled to make Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. So for us, it's fine. But yeah, so noting that it is Monday, two of the games haven't taken place, so. We'll give you some pre-analysis on. I can't believe the Titans came back and beat the Dolphins. What a result! Levis, oh man, the guy's going to be an absolute star. Yeah, shame about the absolute pantsing the Giants got from the Packers. Like, yeah, you know. It's just, you know, it can't. The end of the season can't come quick enough.
And on the flip side, it was a one-sided match as Tua again made his claims for MVP, throwing 5 touchdowns against an inept Titans team. And the Packers, Jordan Love continues with his I am going to be the third quarterback in the Hall of Fame in a row form, and absolutely destroys the Giants' defense. Also, Aaron Jones running for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns because I really need him to do that for a fantasy win this week, please.
I mean, come on. I've got Aaron Jones in so many leagues, and he's really letting me down this year. It's hard because I love Aaron Jones. He's so brilliant.
So elite.
He is. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's actually the one thing that, you know, that has really isn't been mentioned a lot from Jordan Love is that he doesn't have Aaron Jones this year. Like, Aaron Jones has been anonymous the whole year. He's either been injured or barely playing. So, yeah.
To be fair, A.J. Dillon has stepped up. He's not as elite as Aaron Jones.
No.
But I think he has done a good job as a battering ram.
My favourite thing about A.J. Dillon, though, this year was the footage of him playing Farming Simulator the night before a game.
Man knows how to party.
Oh, man, yeah. Just
taking a leaf out of Odell Beckham's book.
Exactly.
Or not.
Or maybe not. But yeah, well, I remember a couple of weeks ago when Tyreek Hill injured his hand and then realising that meant he couldn't be playing Call of Duty. Or that was his trigger hand.
I realised last night that I've officially got old because I downloaded Call of Duty and I couldn't figure out how to play it. And then when I did, I got killed twice in 2 minutes and gave up and played FIFA.
I've never played it.
Yeah, it's probably a sensible decision.
Yeah, I'm already know I'm too old for that. I did try and play Fortnite once, and it was just too bright for me. Like it was just too noisy and stuff. Like yeah, where's the realism? So getting into games that actually happened. Should we start with the Chiefs and the Bills? Because it's always eventful when these teams play each other. Last year when the playoffs, the playoff loss, you're like, these guys are going to be. These two quarterbacks are going to be duking it out. They're going to be, perennial MVP.
Manning, Brady.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It hasn't really played out that way this year. They're both on a bit of a down year.
I don't think it's either of their faults.
That's it. But they're both making a lot more interceptions. They're causing more turnovers. But yeah, in the end, the Bills get the win. Just.
I mean, it's one of those games where actually the Chiefs got the loss.
Yeah.
Because it is literally Kadarius Toney's big toe. And he was offside, there's no doubt about that. I'm sorry if Chiefs fans, if you can complain that he didn't get the call or the refs didn't instruct him to. They're under no obligation to do that. His foot was offside. End of. You know, you're a professional football player. You can clearly see where the line of scrimmage is based on the ball, and you should be able to keep control of your leg being on one side. This has happened to the Chiefs before in playoffs against the Patriots, where what's his face is signed with the 49ers afterwards. Can't remember his name. Oh, that's going to haunt me. Anyway, he's always injured. He did exactly the same. He lined up offside and kind of gave Brady that second chance at beating them. So, yeah, you're offside. I said to you last night or this morning, I said, it's such a shame because that would have been sweetest player of the week.
It really would have. It was incredible.
It's great awareness from Kelsey.
Heads up play. Yeah. Now, like, how often do you see attempts at laterals and it is like Jacoby Myers throwing it to Chandler Jones or just someone just throwing it into open field because, you know, I'm going down.
And it wasn't like it was the very last player of the game. They had time on their side. It wasn't that sort of desperation type lateral. It was just really good heads up play by Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Now, it's a shame because it doesn't count. So it can't be our sweetest play, but it's our almost sweetest play of the year.
Still might nominate it. This has to be, for me, it has to be the end of Kadarius Toney in Kansas. He's had so many drops, so many mistakes this year. You know, he obviously came over last year for quite a low round pick in terms of trade. So it's not like they've spent a fortune on him. No,
but I remember at the time seeing like Chief fans on Reddit going, "We've absolutely fleeced the Giants here," and it just looks like a fair trade now.
He had that one plan in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Obviously a very important one. But he's done next to nothing this year. Yeah. I had a lot of hope for him. I drafted him in a number of fantasy leagues based on hype, my usual mistake.
Yeah.
I think I had him in for the first couple of weeks and very quickly took him out and dumped him off my entire roster because it's not been there.
After the first week, because he had a really bad first week, didn't he? There was lots of drops, and he got dropped in all the leagues I was in. So I went and picked him up because this is an anomaly. Like he'll be fine. Like he's still going to be like one of their top 2 or 3 receivers, and he still might be, but only because everyone else is worse. It's not. It doesn't look. I wanted to like him because he's so fun.
Yeah,
he is.
He's kind of like he's not quite Percy Harvin, but he's that type of player. Where you get the ball into his hands and things will happen. The problem is Patrick Mahomes gets the ball into his hands and then he drops it.
Yeah.
And I think, we saw Mahomes be really, really angry on the sideline. Probably the angriest I've ever seen Mahomes be. He's normally pretty chilled, even when they do lose. I think that's just frustration because he knows the win was there. And you look at his stats, 25 for 43, not amazing. 271 yards, pretty average by his very high standards, and one touchdown and one interception. Like him, and I'm going to put Josh Allen to this. They're having off seasons because the team around them aren't performing. Like Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs, and that's about it. Dalton Kincaid is coming on nicely, but there's nothing else. He's never had a running game that actually works. Mahomes is similar. He's very rarely had a running game that works.
Cook looked all right, but as a catcher.
Yeah, he had 5 receptions for 83 yards. That's the best I've seen James Cook play.
Yeah.
But anything in the running game for Buffalo to be successful over a long period of time has to go through Josh Allen. Occasionally, James Cook has a good game. Occasionally, Tavis Murray's had a good game. In the past, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, they've been through a whole ream of running backs, and they've just not had one.
Yeah.
And it's been an ongoing. We've said this for so many years now. The lack of running game is absolutely costing them, because even at the end of the game, Josh Allen was still throwing it.
Yeah,
when he shouldn't have been.
No, and like some of the throws he makes, they like. There's a reason Romo calls him an alien, because there was one where he's running towards the touchline, turns around, throws it, and it was like no other quarterback really can make that sort of throw, because the physicality he has, everything, like head, the arm, like it's insane. But also, like sometimes you watch him and you're like an elite quarterback won't make throws like that because they're stupid.
Yeah, like so. Both these quarterbacks I feel sorry for at the moment. Both these teams are, I think, better than what their record suggests, bar the fact that they just haven't got the talent around them. I mean, if you put either of these quarterbacks into the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cowboys, even the Steelers, I think they'd be doing better.
I have to agree. Like Rashee Rice, Kelsey, they're good. Kelsey's obviously excellent, but like fuck me, like it's really sad to watch. Yeah, it's great because I don't want the Chiefs to win every year. Exactly. We need down years for them. But to watch Mahomes getting angry on the sidelines, it's like just give him some players.
Yeah, I mean, involves them. I think they've got a good defense still. I hope they can keep most of those players going into next year. My first, second, third round picks would all be wide receivers.
Yeah, definitely. They do have some easy games to finish the season. Yeah. Pats, Raiders, Bengals, Chargers. They'll probably win at least 3 of them.
All of them, I'd say.
Well, the Bengals look tidy.
All right, let's talk about the Bengals then.
They look tidy. Well, before we move on, should we quickly mention Sean McDermott, who's got into trouble this week for... he's used 9/11 in a team meeting.
He likened the terrorists' organisation to that of a football team. Everyone did their job and they were, successful. Because inverted commas.
I mentioned it to. I played squash with Michael on.
That's Griff for everyone else. Michael.
Yeah, Mike Griff. On Friday, and I was like, "Have you seen the Sean McDermott news?" And he was like, "No, I've not really been able to keep up with the news this week." I was like, "Well, Sean McDermott's got in trouble for making comments about 9/11." And he was like, "Oh, what did he say?" Well, I said he used it as a sort of metaphor for teamwork. And he was like, "What, the firefighters or the NYPD?" And I was like, "No, it was not. He went a different direction."
I mean, there are so many other better examples that he could have used.
Exactly.
Like the fire department or the NYPD.
Yeah.
Just, if you want to use the 9/11 analogy, go the other way.
Yeah, please, Sean.
I get where he's coming from, but it's such a bad analogy.
So bad.
And it'd be bad doing it here, to do it in the US, and to do it in the state of New York.
It's so bad. I mean, yeah. The fact that this has come out makes me think maybe he's not as secure in his job as I said.
The whole team seemed to rally behind him, and Brandon Bean had his arm around him saying, we've got your back. And, that's great. I'm not getting off the train of Sean McDermott could be in trouble.
Yeah. Last week I was saying, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know.
Again, you're one big toe away from losing this game.
Yeah.
You've not gone to Kansas and absolutely demolished the Chiefs and put on a show whereby it's like, oh, we were silly to doubt the Bills. You've scraped in, and Absolutely. I think any other season, a win against the Chiefs would be like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But this season, because of the form that the Bills have had and the way they're playing and the results they've got, it just like, yep, great, you got the win, but it could easily have been a loss.
Yeah, really. Like, somehow, it's almost as if both teams somehow got a loss from this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go on to the Bengals, because Jake Browning was really good again. Like, I know it's only 2 games in now, but it was a question I wanted to ask last week, but it felt silly asking it after 1 week. But I was like, is this a Zach Taylor coaching win? Because Jake Browning isn't as good as Burrow. Like, no, and no one's expecting him to be. But the drop-off hasn't been so pronounced that I think we might have been a bit harsh on Zach Taylor for a few years. I think when the team's been bad, admittedly, they've been appalling. But he's got them to a Super Bowl. He's got them deep in the playoffs when he's got his players around it, in position. And the fact that he's got a system now that he can fit an absolute nobody into it, and actually they've lost one game. I think the game that Burrow was injured, possibly that but they're in a decent state of form. They're chasing down playoffs. They are the 5th seed, so they're one of the many 3 teams at 8 and 5. Is this a Zach Taylor victory as much as anything else?
I think so, yeah. And
we haven't got Griff here
to argue. There are currently, out of the 14 teams currently in the playoffs.
Well, they're 7 and 6, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Out of the 14 teams that are currently in the playoffs, 11 of them are coached by former offensive coaches.
Yeah.
It's the way the league is going now. You look at, the ones that aren't Steelers, Bucks, Ravens, Steelers, Bucks, Ravens. Three of them aren't. And, the Ravens special teams coach.
Yeah.
All right. It's the way the league's going out. All the really successful teams are now being coached by offensive head coaches.
If you look at 12, 13, 14, 15 in the AFC, defensive.
Yeah. And I think it's just because they're able to affect the game more from an offensive point of view than a defensive head coach is, who effectively doesn't. That's where you make a lot of the changes on offense. And you see it with the 49ers all the time this year, where Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers start off a little bit slowly and then they adapt.
Yeah.
The last 2 games specifically, I think they had a slow start this week against the Seahawks. Again, I got into my little worry phase. They changed things up, they adapted. Zach Taylor is he was a good offensive coordinator beforehand. He's from Sean McVay as well. So, he's got pedigree. Give him a quarterback who doesn't throw interceptions. He can make things work. Now he's got a few more years' experience from when he first came into Cincinnati, and he was pretty dire. Then he had Joe Burrow for 3 or 4 games. He got injured. Shock horror. You take your starting quarterback out.
Yeah,
you're probably going to have a dip in form. But even you look at what Stefanski's doing with the Browns. They're winning. What Shanahan did with the 49ers last year was actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
There is an element of you don't know, defensive coordinators don't know what they're coming up against with Jake Browning because there's not a lot of tape on him.
No. But he's playing smart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got a hell of a cast around him,
Steichen's doing. I know the Colts lost his game, but the Colts are 7 and 6 with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
And a rookie head coach who's also an offensive coordinator.
And I think Colts are actually ahead of them technically in Oh no, I don't. This is just because it's not updated. That's why. But yeah, Colts were in the 7th seed. Like,
oh no, they still are. Colts are still in the 7th seed, and Bengals are technically the 10th seed.
There you go.
But they're both on 7 and 6.
Absolutely mad. And like, where's Chase Brown come from?
The same place that a lot of good running backs come from. The 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, or
undrafted. 80 yards receiving.
It was,
absolutely brilliant. And, Mixon, 79 yards, just under 4 a carry, but
Mixon's
a touchdown.
Good season.
He's been, I think it's a shame that I think Mixon's another one of these Bengals who's going to be lost next year. He's so bizarrely still underrated as a runner. And he's brilliant.
I remember, one of the first years we were doing this, and it was actually before I was doing it quite regularly. And I remember screaming when I was listening to it at you all, saying, because I think it was either Griff or Gary saying, Joe Mixon's nothing.
Yeah.
No, he is something. He is a good running back. And I think he's proven me right.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
Think he's been a solid running back for the Bengals for a number of years now. Certainly, he's not a stellar one like a Barkley or Zeke Elliott back in the day, or Derrick Henry. But he's always going to get you
80 yards.
80 yards in a game.
Yeah.
He suffered the same way that actually Burrow has suffered in terms of playing behind a crap offensive line. He's had those problems as well. But he's still come through.
Yeah. No. I will not hear any Mixon slander.
No.
So yeah, the Bengals keep marching on. They are, they're recovering from that awful start.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can look at the teams around them. The 9th and 10th place in the AFC are actually the two most informed teams in the whole, apart from the Cowboys and the Niners.
All the AFC North are in contention for playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. And
3 of them are currently in it. One of them is level. The Bengals are the only ones that aren't in it. But they're equal with the Steelers and the Colts. They're only a game behind the Browns.
I can't remember who I said would get to the playoffs last week, but
we should write this stuff down.
We should write this stuff down. I will go back and listen to it. But if I didn't say the Bengals, I'm sure I did say the Bengals. No, I can't. I won't have said the Bengals because it's fucking Jake Browning.
Yeah.
So
I think we would have said the Bengals.
If it was Burrow, it's different. But because it's Browning, but at the moment they're looking fine.
Look at the Browns as well.
Yeah. Oh, should we move on to the Browns now? Because the Browns, old man Flacco, balled out.
It's another offensive coach
with
a backup quarterback who's making things happen.
Yeah. And it turns out David Njoku is invisible to defences.
So to Gary.
Yeah. I had him also on my bench. But last week he was non-existent, admittedly. So I dropped him. I've got Sam Laporta. Other
understandable.
Teams, the players. Oh, he had half a fucking field to walk into. So open. Like, I thought the Jags' defense is blown coverage, but it's just 2 really early blown coverage. You're like, you guys are supposed to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were out of it quite early on.
Yeah.
And credit to them, they came back and they weren't too far away from actually taking the lead. Trevor Lawrence looked okay. There were moments where he looked terrible. Obviously, he's coming off a high ankle sprain from Monday night.
Yeah.
And, there's doubts about whether he would be playing. He did play. I don't think it looked like it bothered him that much. I mean, you can never tell, can you?
No, he didn't look... There were times where there were lots of grimacing and... it's hard because the Bengals' defense is really good. Like, they just couldn't... Browns beat even. The Browns' defense is really good. ETN could not get moving.
No.
28 of 50 for Lawrence.
50 attempts.
Yeah.
On a bad ankle.
Because
they were chasing the game.
Yeah. He didn't look smooth like before, as you used to seeing Lawrence. For him, Ingram, to another tight end, making, another 2 touchdowns, 95 yards.
But the fact that he had so many targets, for me, would indicate Trevor Lawrence obviously wasn't as comfortable pushing the ball down the field as he perhaps would have been this time last week. Yeah,
that's it. And it's all sort of 9-10 yards, 95 off 11. Karen Ridley is next with 53 off 4 targets. Even 4 receptions from 13 targets. There was a lot of misses. There were.
Who the fuck is Parker Washington again? Because he got another touchdown.
That's my favourite part of this part of the season, because who the fuck are these people? But yeah,
he's a
touchdown.
Rookie, drafted in 6th round pick in 2023.
I think he's a returner generally, because and he's also got a fumble. But yeah, I love this part of the season, because you sort of I'm there watching this game because I've got Ridley. Come on, give me some good shit. Give me the good Ridley. Who the fuck is Parker Washington?
There's an interesting bit. We'll come and talk about this other game later. Interesting bit in Peter King's article today, talking about the 53rd man on the roster.
Oh yeah,
because obviously the punt return.
Yeah.
I think that's another. I can't remember what he said, but he basically said some GMs study it so hard because at some point in the season, 1 or 2 of those players will have 3 or 4 amazing plays, and they will just come out of nowhere. And Parker Washington, whoever it is, 6th round pick, I think once you get past the 3rd round, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're not guaranteed a spot. He's doing pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, talking of punt returns, should we go to Baltimore?
Oh, these segues are lovely, aren't they?
Aren't we just? It's like we're planning this. We're doing this completely off the hook.
We genuinely don't have a running order today, Gary.
Yeah. So, this was a great game.
Was.
Yeah. Up there with one of the best. Actually, in terms of weeks as a whole, this was really good, I thought. But this was the most...
Couple of down points.
We'll get to them. Rams bring it back. Right at the end, they... I think it's a field goal from Havrasik. I can't pronounce it. Apologies. But the under pressure kicker, because they got rid of a good one this summer, brought in a rookie because that's what teams struggling to do. I thought the Rams, the start of the season, I thought the Rams were going to be really appalling, and they've been so good. They are fun.
Continuing the theme of the podcast, it's another offensive head coach.
It is.
And he's getting results out of, I think, what is the youngest roster in the league. He's getting results out of it. Kyron Williams, 25 carries, 114 yards. He's been great all season. Yeah. We obviously know what Cooper Kupp is capable of. I felt this is the game where now he's back, properly back.
He's been quiet for a couple of weeks since his return.
And, but you're coupling him with Puka Nacua, who, again, another player no one had heard of before week 2 of the season, realistically. There's good players there. They're still in the hunt because the Seahawks are dropping off. And he wouldn't put it past them being able to get there because the experience at the head coach level, but also at the quarterback level. I thought this is one of the games where Matt Stafford looks back to almost his best.
Yeah, he looked like the Stafford, last year it seemed a very long way away, which is good because it was so sad to watch him last year. he looked great. On the other end, the Ravens, Lamar, it was typical Lamar.
Yeah.
There's the bits sometimes you watch him, you think, God, he's like, when you watch him, like no one can move like him. No. Like the way he jukes and spins, and like it's insane. And some of his throws are lovely. Some of his throws are really dumb. Yes. He didn't have much, Keaton Mitchell, 54 yards from 9 rushes.
They just can't keep their running backs fit, can they?
No. But Odell Beckham, 97 yards, 1 touchdown in his return to the
revenge game.
Yeah. Isaiah Likely, once again, another tight end.
Do you know what?
Another one on my bench.
Another one of my dark horse picks from the draft a couple of years back. He's stepped in for Mark Andrews. And I think he's great. So far, the games he's had where he's kind of been the number one tight end, I think he's been more than reliable.
And it was, I think, remarkable as well, the amount of times they went to Nelson Aguilar when in trouble. And, he made his catches and got...
5 catches from 5 targets.
Exactly.
That's very unlike Nelson Aguilar.
Isn't it just? Yeah, no.
On the flip side, Zay Flowers had a lot of drops.
He did. You're still a rookie, but there's it's not like he's having a bad year compared to like the Chiefs or whatever. But yeah, he does make drops.
Can I put it out there? The Ravens are currently the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced by them.
No, I'm not.
Not even, this game, I think, highlights that. They're 10-3, and again, we come back to our team's as good as what the records suggest. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are.
I don't think they are. They are in periods.
Yeah.
They'll look great for a quarter, and then for another quarter, they'll struggle to move the ball. They'll just keep 3 and outs. And sometimes the defence just seems to go missing for a little bit.
We've conceded 31 points to the Rams, who, okay, like I said, they got some good players.
Yeah,
but the Rams are 6-7. You're 10-3. This game shouldn't be as close as what it is, and you're playing at home in the conditions you're used to, and a team from California shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the Dolphins are now favourites to get the number 1 seed.
Yep, get it.
Which I get. It is nice to see a good Ravens team because for a few years they've been really sucky to watch, and the fact that they still got into the playoffs last. Did they get to playoffs? They got to playoffs last year, didn't they? Had a Pro Bowl quarterback. Can you remember his name?
Brett Hundley.
No. Was it? I thought
the fact that I mean, it is a joke of a thing just because they'd run out of quarterbacks in the AFC. People who they picked but either couldn't go because they're in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, or couldn't go because they just said they're injured. Makes a joke of the whole Pro Bowl thing. The Ravens got their biggest test comes on Christmas Day. They're at the 49ers.
Yeah.
Now, as a 49ers fan, naturally I'm going to be nervous about that. But I'm not as nervous about playing the Ravens as I was about playing the Eagles. And I think the Ravens are a lot like the Eagles at the moment.
Yeah, up and down. Yeah. I totally agree with that. I don't see... Tyler Huntley. Yeah. Not Brett Hundley. Yeah, so Tyler Huntley. The thing with the Ravens is you don't really want to play them because, like, the defense, like Roquan Smith, is having an astounding year. The defense is good. The offense on it, if it's all clicks, the defense can just run through you, run over you. But sometimes it doesn't click.
Yeah.
And they'll score 14 points in the game and you'll just have a field day.
Their last 4 games, they're at the Jaguars, at the 49ers, and then home to the Dolphins and home to the Steelers.
I mean, it could be 2-2, could be
0-4.
4, yeah.
It could be 1-4, 1-3. Sorry,
3, yeah. Like I imagine that. I think they might have enough to beat the Jags, but the others very, very tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see the Dolphins getting that bye week.
Should talk about the game of the day.
Yeah, go on.
The other game of the day, possibly the game that I was laughing at so much. Minnesota 3, Raiders 0.
I mean, God's sake.
This is hilarious. It just. I mean, it never appeared on Red Zone.
No, I forgot
They kept flicking to it because it's like, well, something's got to happen. Like,
yeah,
because there were only 3 or 4 games in the late kickoffs. You know, 2 of those go to a break, and there's nothing happening in the other one. Well, we've got to show something.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we should just show commercials. But they had. I think there was only one drive that was over 50 yards.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is because the defense was good.
Yeah,
both defenses have. Also, let's not discount. Some of it was because the offense was turgid.
So bad.
So Dobbs got dropped. No, they brought in Nick Mullins. On the Raiders, I mean, Aidan O'Connell
just
is a backup quarterback, really.
Yeah, and
they couldn't run it because the defense is good. It's only notable this game for Devontae Adams' stare on the sideline.
Pow.
Yeah. I mean, just absolutely brilliant. I love this. Like, it can't be denied just how much I love this.
It's just, I wanted it to stay 0-0 in a way. In the NFL, ties are rare. It just very rarely happens, and no one wants a tie. I just wanted this one to stay 0-0.
Same.
Just for shits and giggles.
Yeah. There was one drive over 50 yards, which was the field goal from Greg Joseph.
And I mean, like you said, it's not like there are chances. It's not like they got into the red zone and they were intercepted, or there was a fumble, or they had I mean, Greg Joseph missed another kick.
Yeah.
So it could have been 6-0. What do you fucking do? It was just a bad game, but just hilarious, and we'd be remiss not to mention it.
Oh yeah, I mean, just funny. Like, sometimes you just need to say, like, I love the fact that this was in the same week as that brilliant, that brilliant Ravens game, the Bengals performance. We'll go on to it, but the Niners or the Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles. We also had this.
And it's worth exactly the same to the Vikings as all those teams.
Exactly, yeah.
One more win in the win column,
and they've needed it because they have been returning to earth. Is the Dobbs?
Yeah,
the Dobbs thinks. I mean, I'm sure he'll be back, but
I think it's worse for me. Even though they won, I think it's worse for the Vikings than it's for the Raiders. The Raiders, you can write them off. They're backup quarterback, backup head coach, a roster that isn't very good, hasn't been all season, not well put together. The whole team franchise needs a massive overhaul. The Vikings, okay, yes, backup quarterback, accept that. But aside from that, okay, you had Justin Jefferson for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's now gone again. But
not as serious as they worried about. Apparently, he got the transport back with the team. Although he did still go to hospital for, I think Mattison looked like he was making some 6.6 yard to carry. He got injured. I mean, we should just move on. Let's just move on. Let's talk about anything else. So, should we mention your 49ers team?
Go on then.
They are inevitable.
I like that.
They are there's a reason I picked these guys for the Super Bowl, and even when you had your 3-week wobble,
I'm good having that wobble.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. Sometimes you just need something to reset expectations. But yeah, now I'm going back big on the 49ers because they look great, and they look like they've also got a bit of spare in the tank as well. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks last few years, they used to seem to have a hoodoo over you for a couple of years.
Long time.
That is very much over.
5 in a row now.
Yeah.
I used to hate playing the Seahawks because, like you said, they always used to beat the 49ers, even when both teams were good.
Yeah.
And then obviously 49ers have gone through a patch where they weren't good, and naturally the Seahawks won, and you can understand that. Now it's flipped the other way. I don't know what the Seahawks are at the moment because they're not a defensive juggernaut. I don't think they're an offensive juggernaut.
No.
I don't know what the plan, the scheme is. And it's, Pete Carroll's old.
It is.
Is he losing touch with how the league is played? Because
you
just look devoid of ideas against. Okay, you're playing probably the best team in the NFL at the moment. It's understandable.
Yeah.
The Eagles looked devoid of ideas the other day.
Yeah.
But find a way to stop McCaffrey.
That's it. Sometimes it's a really simple game, and what you do is you get a really, really quick bloke, a really powerful, quick guy to run left and run hard, and if he can also catch, even better. 145 rushing yards. Debo 149 receiving yards. Ayuk 126. These are
Ayuk gone over 1,000 yards for the second season in a row.
I love Ayuk.
Yeah, he's sort of underrated.
Yeah,
because he is in a team with Samuel, CMC, and George Kittle, but he's trusted by both the coaching staff and also Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy just looks immense. I said it last week, just looks so cool. And Jimmy Garoppolo at times looked cool in the pocket, but the difference being that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't make the throws that Brock Purdy makes.
Yeah.
He's able to, look at the George Kittle touchdown. All right, George Kittle had broken coverage, but he's able to get a ball over the defender and into George Kittle's hands. Something I never would trust Jimmy Garoppolo to do. I was just looking back at when Christian McCaffrey was traded to the 49ers, and there was we had a little bit of like a conjecture certainly amongst ourselves, but also I think in the media in general, in that a second, a third, and a fourth and a fifth round pick was a lot for Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, it was fucking cheap, wasn't it?
It looks really cheap now.
I mean, yeah. They just keep doing it.
Always trades like that where you've got, okay, now we can look at him and say, yes, he's a great player, but good players on bad teams, what would happen if some of those went to good teams? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we see it most with quarterbacks, don't we? Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
What would happen if Zach Wilson landed in San Francisco instead of Trey Lance?
Yes, exactly. I mean, we'll get on to Zach because actually, you saw the good of Zach this week, but you do something. Yeah, maybe if he didn't have such a bollock as a offensive coordinator, it's mad. And McCaffrey. Imagine if he hadn't made that trade and he was just another year struggling at Carolina.
Probably would have got injured again.
Yeah. And, Ayuk, I was just joking, he's still on his rookie contract. Yep. He's got another 2 years.
I think he's eligible for a contract this year, isn't he?
So he's done 3 years. So,
so he'll be eligible because he'll be eligible,
2 years.
Eligible for contracting after your third year. And I reckon they'll probably pay him if they intend on keeping him, they'll pay him because they still haven't got paid Brock Purdy until the end of next year.
Yep. Why not? I mean, according to over the cap valuation, they reckon he's worth $18 million a year, and I think that would be fair if we consider what other.
He could go to a lot of other teams and be the number one receiver.
Yeah, definitely. But bizarrely, I imagine he'd be one of those players that I imagine you put him in. Let's say he took the money and went to the Jags or the Raiders, he just wouldn't be the same player. Like the way they scheme him is really cool and really, really creative.
Yeah,
and it just wouldn't be the same if it was catching passes from, in the Arthur Smith Falcons regime. Like it just wouldn't work. So
it makes me wonder, like when players are in that situation. Obviously, the money is important. They've got short careers, so they have to make as much money as they possibly can. How much money do you sacrifice to be on a team where you're going to get your stats and you're going to win?
Yeah.
It's a personal decision, but if I was any of those 49ers players, I'd be like, all right, there is a discount. I'm going to get to stay here. And I'm going to be on a really great team with a really great head coach, really well-built organisation. And, we could carry on winning for the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, you compare... So Chase Young has obviously joined you guys. We can move on to the Bears and Josh Sweat. Montez Sweat. Who's Josh Sweat? Montez Sweat, who's gone to the Bears. I think... you can optimistically call that maybe a sideways move from the Commanders.
Yeah.
But he's starting to that. He looks really good in that defense. Yeah. And he's got his big contract now with the Bears. But how much must he be quite jealous looking across, looking is the guy who was on the other end of the line of him going, he might get a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, there are so many great players who didn't even get to Super Bowls, let alone win one.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, am I going to be in that camp? Because I think you've got to, not so much to get in the Hall of Fame, but to be remembered as a great player without getting to Super Bowl, you've got to be special. You've
got to be defining your position.
And I watched a documentary of Barry Sanders. On Saturday night, and it's like it's that type of talent where it's like, God, I wish that guy would have won Super Bowl because, brilliant. Especially on the defensive side, are you going to have as many of those? Probably not.
No, and it's really, really is hard. So you need to be either defining or like as a character. I'm trying to think of players that. Did Brian Dawkins get to a Super Bowl?
I think he got there when the Eagles lost to the Patriots.
Yeah.
So I don't think he won one. But
no, he didn't win one, but he was like this.
Randy Moss,
yeah.
Got to a few.
Didn't win. So, Hall of Fame is something else, but I guess you can sort of sit back and think, it's fine, I never got to the Hall of Fame, as I live in my massive house and drive to my new job as in my Lamborghini. We'll move on to, we'll mention the Bears because so they're going to probably end up with the first pick. Because
courtesy
of the Panthers. The last couple of weeks, Justin Field, the decision. So Caleb Williams was start of the season. Everyone was like, "Oh, who's going to get the first pick to pick Caleb Williams?" Justin Field must be making them question his recent form of, do we need a quarterback?
100%.
Yeah, he looked the good version of Justin Fields this week. How long that lasts, I don't know. But, he's still a rookie. That's what happens with some rookies. They are streaky. You'll see the good, the bad. They've given him DJ Moore, who has really helped.
Massively. Especially the last couple of weeks, they seem to have formed a really good connection.
Yep, the defense looks like
it's getting much better.
A much better defense, a proper like Chicago style, hard defense. They didn't give the Lions much breathing space this week. Admittedly, the Lions, they are fun when they play, when they're doing their fourth down. But there's no... It's not a shock that they're doing it. You can you know they're going to go for it on fourth down.
Yeah,
and I think they've overplayed their hand here.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think sometimes just take a punt.
Yeah, the one last week was the worst one where take punt.
Yeah. No,
don't fuck around. Just get rid of it. I wrote a little article for the website about the Bears.
Oh yeah,
and I think there's for me there's three things that they've got to sort out going into the off season. One's the head coach.
Yep.
I don't think Matt Eberflus is the answer. He's done actually great on defense, but I think if Justin Fields is going to be your quarterback or it's going to be Caleb Williams, you need to have an offensive head coach.
Yeah,
that's for me. You've got to have. I think that's what you've got to be. But then that comes down to what do they want the identity of this team to be?
That's it.
So I don't know at the moment. They've got some good pieces on offense. They've got some good pieces on defense. But it doesn't feel like they're a defensive juggernaut. It doesn't feel like...
There's no identity, is there? Yeah. They are.
I mean, that then leads to, okay, well, then what are you going to do at quarterback? For me, based on how he's playing at the moment, I would probably keep Justin Field.
Yeah, I would.
Because then you can trade that number one pick and get a whole load of picks.
Or just take Marvin Harrison.
Or just take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes. But yeah, you'd probably can get a bounty for not moving back that much.
Yeah.
Like they got last year with the Panthers.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some needy teams this offseason. And
quite a few.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Is that in the non-existent running order?
It's in the non-existent running order. It was just something I mentioned last week. I thought, I'll try and do some. I think
better bring up Tankathon.
Yes. So we should probably mention the Eagles Cowboys.
Okay. Actually, no, we should because the Eagles lost.
The Eagles lost. The Cowboys now take control of the NFC East because they have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. The 49ers now lead the NFC. I mean, the Eagles just have last couple of weeks looked like we've been saying
a lot of points.
They're shipping a lot of points. Their defense is beatable. The offense is stuttering.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say because we've been saying this for a while. We got the feeling they were going to be caught up.
They've been caught up.
They've been caught up.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs. What they need to do is find some form before then, because they aren't getting the week off now.
Yeah. Opposite to some of the other teams we mentioned, their run-in isn't too bad.
Yeah.
They've got the Giants twice, the Cardinals and the Seahawks.
It's 4 winnable games.
4 very winnable games. I think if they lose any one of those games, I think there's now big questions going to be asked. Yeah. I completely agree. The defense is just porous.
Yeah.
Like the last 3 weeks, 33 points to the Cowboys, 42 to the 49ers, 34 to the Bills. They kept the Chiefs. They're at the Chiefs and won 21-17. It's like brilliant.
Yeah.
But every game, most of the games this season, they're shipping points.
Yeah.
Even the Commanders, they conceded 31 points against.
And now teams are keeping AJ Brown quiet.
Yep.
And that's basically their offense. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on how that's looking.
Cowboys look good.
Cowboys do look good.
This is a big test for the Cowboys because all right, they lost the 49ers. They got humiliated. And they've won a lot of games since then, but against pretty average teams. This is a big test. Eagles coming to town, got to beat the big teams. And they actually did it. And, fair play to them. I think Dak Prescott is at the moment the only one competing with Brock Purdy for MVP in my mind.
If you're of the mind that the MVP is a quarterback, it's those two.
Yeah, sorry.
It's those two. Yeah. They have a harder run.
They do, yeah.
So they have the Bills, who
still a good
team. The Dolphins on Christmas Eve, which I'm so excited for. That could be an absolute cracker. Then they finish with the Lions. Who knows with the Lions?
Yeah.
That's on New Year's Eve. So that's how I'll be bringing in the new year. And then they finish with the Washington team. So that's they might get 3 wins. The Dolphins, I'm not too sure. I think they might beat the Dolphins. I think
it can be 3-1. It could be 2-2. It could be 1-3.
Who knows? It won't be 1-3. It will be 3-1. But yeah, the Dolphins one is that they have 2 games. They have 2 tests. If they come out 4-0, then that's cannot wait for the NFC title game. I think it's going to be absolutely cracking.
Do you know what we said last week about if the Eagles and 49ers play again? It's just one of those things where the Eagles will win. The Cowboys and 49ers play again, it won't be another humiliation.
No. Oh, yeah. No, it'd be great.
It'll be a tough game for both teams.
The NFC South also played.
That also exists.
Also played. So, I want to go through. We're starting to mention some. So, a couple of head coaches have gone. I want us to nominate each head coaches who aren't going to be there next season.
Right.
Then I want to go with quarterbacks who won't be with the teams they are currently with next season. So, let's have a look at some of the change we can sort of expect, because it was prompted by, at the weekend, I was listening to someone bizarrely about Nottingham Forest, and they said, if he loses this game, he'll lose his job. And I was like, why? If you don't think he's your man, what if you lose to Wolves? What's the point? If you win, you beat Wolves, great, but he's still not your man. That's not the man you want. Why not just fire him?
Yeah.
And that got me thinking of Brandon Staley. So, my first nomination is, of course, Brandon Staley, because, man, he's so gone.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he'll last the season now, especially if Herbert is out.
Yeah.
But
what's the point?
What is the point? There is no point. There's no point firing him because you're just paying him to.
Going to be doing that anyway. But then, unless they've got someone sat behind it, if Kellen Moore, if they want to give him a few games to see if he can take on the reins. But again, if you're without Justin Herbert, then again,
what's the point?
You might as well just see out the season.
Yeah.
And then get rid of him. But yeah, I agree. I think he is
dead man walking.
Literally dead man walking.
So it will be pretty quick. A lot of these we discussed through the season. I just want to. I'm gonna basically, if we talk about it, I can then listen back to it and note it down.
Oh, you can note it down whilst we're doing this.
I could. Actually, I do have a notepad.
You've got a computer right in front of you.
Oh yeah, I do have a computer.
Joys of modern technology.
I have a look at the computer there.
Yeah, I think there are, similar to Staley at the Chargers, I think there are a few other dead men walking.
Go on.
Bill Belichick.
Yep.
I don't think it's even a question now. They're 3-10. They are the second team to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And it's not like they're playing well and losing games. They are shockingly bad.
They're bad, really bad.
Yeah.
Defensively, really, not really good, but defensively they are looking all right.
Yeah.
But,
that offense is terrible.
It's awful.
It comes back to what we're saying. This league is turning into an offense-led league.
Yeah.
and Belichick can't make those adjustments. Like, he's not an offensive-minded head coach, never has been, and that's been fine when you've got a goat at quarterback and a semi-decent offensive coordinator who can't be a head coach.
Yeah.
So that's my other dead man walking.
Yep.
I think it's probably definitely another one.
So I'm going to mention Dennis Allen.
He was going to be my half dead man walking.
I think he's. I think the ownership can't help but notice the fact that they are getting booed every week now, and Derek Carr is not the first choice quarterback I'd want for my team, but he's not a bad quarterback.
No.
And he's getting booed now by the fans for some insipid play. The fact that you aren't, I think they are now ahead of. They are now, they're equal with the Falcons and the Bucks. I mean, that just
the NFC South.
The NFC South is drunk.
Pile of shit.
It's awful. So I think Dennis Allen. It's been nice knowing you.
Yep. All right. So my other dead man walking, Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is necessarily on Rivera completely, although it is a bit because their record is crap this year. This is a new owner coming in, or new ownership group coming in. They want to clean house and start again. And actually, they absolutely should.
They should.
Because we said this when the other owner was in charge. I remember we did a whole podcast about them. We said they just need to clean house and start again. And I think that's absolutely the right decision. It's a bit harsh on Ron Rivera because I think he's a bang-up, brilliant coach. Never had a really good team other than that Panthers team in 2015.
I think for the ownership, they need to just get rid of the stink of the last ownership group, and that includes Ron Rivera, and get your own guy in.
Yeah.
Can I also add Robert Saleh? I don't like it because I like Robert Saleh. I think he's a good guy, but I think this year, I think he's been emasculated by someone else in the organisation, a podcaster who has brought in his own guys who have had a detrimental effect on his organisation.
Do you think? I'm thinking about replacements because there's the whole thing about and Gary is quite right when he says this. If you do get rid of a head coach, who are you going to bring in?
Yeah.
And I can only think he's going to do the inevitable.
Yep.
He's going to bring the ball bollock in.
He's going to bring the ball bollock in. You're going to promote him.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hate it because half that team is brilliant.
Yeah.
This weekend they looked fine, offensively, but I'm not also getting excited about it because they played the Texans, who are
starting to get injured.
Well, they are limping into the end of the season. I don't think they make the playoffs now. No. They've lost Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Will Anderson. Stroud went down. Yeah. I think they had 5 starters injured this week. Yeah. It's just not sustainable, which is a shame because
I think D'Amico Ryan's done a great job, and I think he should be up for head coach.
Really, exactly.
But I think now the toll of the season is starting to be felt. Let's see who else we can go to.
Does Vrabel need a change? I'm not saying Vrabel's done a bad job this season. This season hasn't worked, but I think maybe he needs to.
For me, there's Vrabel and McDermott are 2 head coaches I think should go for very different reasons.
Yeah,
I don't think they will.
Fair enough.
I am between 2 NFC South head coaches.
Go on.
Arthur Smith and Todd Bowles.
I can see them both going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which one do you take first?
Well, if you take Arthur Smith, I'll take Todd Bowles.
Fair, yeah.
Because Arthur Smith, I came into this season quite excited about the Falcons. They had Bijan. They had a good, at times, offense. Like, they beat the 49ers last year. One of the few teams that I not just beat them, embarrassed them.
Yeah, that was annoying.
With Marcus Mariota at quarterback. And you thought, there's hope in this yet. Like, they haven't got the players there. The defence looks like Jesse Bates might be the best off-season acquisition of the season. Like, he's been brilliant.
Yep.
I can't stand watching them. They are appalling to watch.
They just haven't got a quarterback.
They haven't got a quarterback.
I mean,
but they've got so many holes.
But then I'd also say, when Arthur Smith was offensive coordinator in Tennessee, Tannehill was okay, but I'd also say he's no better than kind of what they've had in Desmond Ridder's not great. They had Marcus Mariota, Tyler Heineke. I think probably could be as good as Ryan Tannehill. But he obviously lent very heavily on the running game because he had Derrick Henry. So when they brought in Bijan Robinson, it's like,
yes,
here we go.
Yeah, lovely.
Arthur Smith ball. This is and I paid a lot in an auction league for Bijan Robinson with that mind in mind. I'm pissed.
I was furious you got him over me. I'm glad you did, because I'd have had fucking Justin Jefferson and Bijan. Fuck.
Oh god, that would have been a disaster. I'm
out actually. Anyway. It's fine now. But yeah, no, I'm really disappointed with them. And Todd Bowles, actually, I quite like Todd Bowles. I think he's a decent bloke.
I actually think Tampa have done probably better than what I'd expect. I think Baker's had a good season.
Yeah,
it feels like they're heading for a rebuild.
Yes, it does.
With Brady's gone, Mike Evans is probably going to go at the end of the season. A few other parts that have been there quite a few years now.
Yeah, the defense, which actually, when it's fit, looks good.
It's aging,
but it's aging. Like Winfield and Levante. I've forgotten his surname.
Levante David.
Like, they're great, but they were part of the.
Not got a running game again.
No. Yeah, I feel
Godwin's always injured. It feels like they're heading towards. It feels like a clumsy end to the Brady era.
It does. Yeah, I would. I'll go with that. So yeah.
I think we're done.
I think we're done. I can't.
Who's that though?
So, 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 definites. We've also got Vrabel and McDermott as
potentials, but then we've got the teams that have also lost coaches already in Vegas and Carolina.
Yeah,
so 9.
9. That could be your 9. Looking at 9 definites, we think, and
I'm still
potentially
on the side of caution the Jets, but I understand the reasoning.
Yeah,
I think you are probably right.
I think he could do a great job. I just think he needs to get out of the Jets. So quarterbacks who won't be there next season.
All right.
I mean, they don't have to be starters as such, because admittedly at the moment
some of them haven't literally got a starting quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm talking guys. So that, whether they move on, or they don't have a starting position next season. So, I'm only saying that they have to be starters now because Kirk, I've always said all season, doesn't. But of course he's injured.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Do they have to leave the club, or can they just be downgraded?
They can be downgraded.
All right, Mac Jones, yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah.
I think actually for him, his own sanity, I think he needs to leave.
Yeah, I would advise him.
Yeah. But
he'll end up being a backup at the 49ers.
Exactly, but doesn't really matter. If Arthur Smith goes, Desmond Ridder is nowhere near a starting position.
Correct.
Anywhere in the league.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that he still is the testament that Arthur Smith should be fired and should not make the end of the season.
Fair. Aidan O'Connell / Jimmy Garoppolo, either of those, the Raiders, both gone.
Yeah. They are saying that they want Pierce. The players want Pierce to be their star, their new, to do what Bisaccia didn't do and get the job.
But it's done all right.
All right,
ignore last week's game.
I think he's done all right because he's not
changed anything.
No, he's not
simpler.
because he's not McDaniel.
Yeah.
And once they realise, actually, it's not just because he's the guy that we hated. I think he might prove to be limited, but I don't know, but you can tell with the Raiders they'll do it wrong. So who knows? they'll bring back Jay Gruden or something, something absolutely bonkers.
Something stupid like that. You're right.
Yeah, I think other than that, do you know what? I don't think there's going to be too much change at quarterback.
Gardner
Minshew, but yeah, I think only because they'll bring back Richardson.
Yeah, I think you've got to spend the first round pick on a quarterback.
Yeah,
he's fit.
But I think Minshew might get a.
I think he might get a contract somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, no, he definitely will get a contract somewhere. It'll be whether he's a starter or not.
Yeah.
But hang on, look, you put him into the Falcons' offense. I think that'd be decent.
There's players I don't think are definites, but I think if they could move on Kyler, I think they would.
I don't know about that when he's here. I think Jonathan Gannon went there very specifically
because of
Kyler was in place.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, maybe because I just don't like watching him.
No, I can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
I actually quite like watching him.
I watch him because he's fun.
He's genuinely talented.
Yeah.
I think he's just a bad personality.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones.
Oh, Daniel Jones, yeah. Well, for what, I don't see him recovering in time. But the fact that we've actually looked a bit more competent this season with
Tommy
DeVito. I looked. He's been sacked 15 times in the last 2 games. Like, I assume whatever pick we're getting is going on offensive line.
But you look at the, I guess you look at the top 10 picks on the proviso that
no one trades
Chicago. Well, yeah, no one trades, and Chicago is sticking with Justin Fields. New England are probably going to take a quarterback.
Yep.
And we're saying Arizona, Washington probably staying pat with what they've got. Giants probably take a quarterback.
Yep.
Titans probably got belief in Will Levis.
I think Will Levis has done enough to say give him some more time.
Then you got the Bears again. So Vegas at 8.
Could be taking a quarterback.
Jets aren't taking one at 9. Chargers aren't taking one at 10. And Atlanta at 11. I've seen mock drafts with 4 quarterbacks going in the top 10.
I mean, that all sounds really sensible. Because
I think you could see teams, potentially like the Giants moving up.
Yep.
Vegas moving up. Atlanta, Seattle. Because I'm not... Pete Carroll, we didn't mention it in the head coaches. If they don't get into the playoffs...
Yeah.
I think it could Pete Carroll, Geno Smith experiment of
end. Yeah, it's been fine this year.
It's not unthinkable given he's the oldest coach in the NFL. Yeah. Geno Smith is average.
He's average, yeah.
And if you've got the opportunity, let's say
he's better than the Geno Smith we imagined he'd be.
He absolutely is.
But yeah,
if the Seahawks lose another few games and suddenly they're catapulted into the top 10 and they've got the opportunity to go and get a really good quarterback, are they going to pass that up?
No.
And do you want Pete Carroll coaching a 22-year-old quarterback?
No, you don't. But it is mad. Yeah, basically, Geno's been the best version of Geno we could expect. He's still the 4th best quarterback in that division, effectively.
Yeah.
And yeah, but of course, what they'll do is they'll take some defensive players because that's what they do. We'll leave that there because we'll ask the guys next week if they ever fucking return.
Fun and exciting. We mentioned Hall of Fame earlier.
Yes,
semi-finalists have been announced.
Oh yeah,
some good names on here. Obviously, there's some good names.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
It'd be pretty shit if they were, really, wouldn't they?
They've just given up and we're putting Kadarius Toney in now.
Yeah. Did you play quarterback? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can come in. There aren't many kind of star quarterbacks, actually, but there are some star names. Jared Allen is there, Tiki Barber, Anquan Bolden is there. First time as a semi-finalist, Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
So I think he got his jersey retired in LA this weekend as well. Hines Ward, the wide receiver, Patrick Willis, linebacker, 49ers. It's his 5th time being a semi-finalist. Yeah, some of these are, you kind of think, you got to really start thinking about getting these guys in.
Yeah, like
it's an odd year though. I don't think there are any players that properly stand out as nailed on Hall of Famers.
It's going to be weird for the next few years
until Brady comes.
Because you've got this sort of holding pattern until you've got Breeze. Breeze will be in a couple of years.
Yeah. Torrey Holt being in the semi-finals 10 times.
I mean, just put him in.
Yeah,
he's
I think there could be a few players like that.
Yeah,
I think they'll take this opportunity, like Julius Peppers as well.
Yeah, put him in. Fucking hell. I like Jared Allen as well. He was so great.
Yeah,
put him in.
Yeah,
just I know, like, until there's like these the headliners come in. I mean, when does Eli become about? Like, that's not 2 years.
A couple of years, yeah.
So
you got to have that. Sorry for mentioning it, but you got to have the Rivers, Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, and then also Tom Brady frames there as well.
Exactly.
Realistically, I think all 4 of them will end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Frank Gore.
Eventually. He still might come back yet.
His son is declared for the draft.
Oh, has he? Yeah, there you go. He might come back. Also, should we probably mention Hayden Hurst? Did you see this?
No, I didn't. Was he a brain injury or something?
Yeah, post-traumatic amnesia. So he took a heavy hit from Brisker, Jaquan Brisker. Went down injured, exited, entered the protocol, came back, but he has no memory of the game. Here you go. Nearly a month after he was diagnosed with what would later be deemed a concussion, his father took to social media and shared that Hurst has been diagnosed with post-traumatic amnesia. So he's not played since November the 9th. We don't know when he'll be back.
I can't see him coming back.
Yeah, that is.
Do you take that risk?
No, especially as a tight end. That is such a heavy position to play.
Exactly. Like you're going across the middle and you're getting smacked by either a linebacker or a safety, both of which are going to hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And, we've seen so many players suffer from head injuries. I remember the linebacker of the 49ers, Chris Borland, had 1 season and he was like, don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
And you get it. Yes, the money is amazing.
Money's amazing.
Experience is incredible. It's what they've always dreamed of doing. But it's a short career. And, when you retire at 35, you've still got, touch wood, 40 years to live.
That's it.
Realistically, Do you want to spend 40 years just having black spots? Or, do you want to spend 40, the amount of players who have been through so well documented in terms of the effects it's had in Junior Seau, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure nothing like that will happen again.
But
it surely had an effect and a part to play in his downfall as well.
Yeah.
It's. I think if I'm Hayden Hurst, I'm very, very seriously considering checking out.
I would. Hopefully, we don't see him back this season because the season's pretty much over. Anyway.
Is he the Falcons?
Is he a Panther?
Yeah, in which case,
so
fuck it.
Yeah, literally, what's the point, mate?
Yeah.
Take your time, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see him for at least for a very long time.
You're his family, his wife, his dad, his brother. You're telling him to get out.
Yeah, get out now. You've earned enough. Go coach somewhere. Yeah, So this weekend, Saturday games. It's the
most wonderful
time of the year. Which is lucky because the Thursday night game is the Chargers versus the Raiders. And who the fuck wants to watch this?
Oh, this could be another 3-0.
I hope so.
It won't be.
It won't be, but it might be.
Yeah, it could be.
Let's
move quickly on Saturday.
Whatever it is, I'm taking the under. Even if it's free. So Saturday games, we've got Vikings at Bengals, Broncos at Lions, which actually could be a really fun game, and Bears at Browns. Once again, that could be quite fun.
No, you haven't. You missed one out. You've got Vikings and Bengals, you've got Steelers at Colts, and then you've got Broncos at Lions.
Oh. Well,
I mean, that's according to ESPN. Unless they've changed it.
Oh, no, look, no, you're right. This is because I've taken this from the Sky Sports website.
Yeah, you shouldn't trust them.
No. So, do you want to take us through?
Vikings at Bengals.
Yep.
It's kicking off at 6 o'clock UK time. Steelers at Colts at 9:30, and then Broncos at Lions at 1:15 a.m.
There you go. The Sky Sports website has them all kicking off at midnight, and I was like, "Fuck, that's great! 5 games at midnight."
Brilliant.
So fuck you, Sky Sports. Any games this weekend though? Taking your fancy?
I think you got to look at Baltimore or Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That'll be the Sunday night game.
Yeah, that looks really fun.
Because, we've said it earlier, Ravens they're winning, but they're not playing great. The Jacksonville Jaguars are desperate for a win because there's teams coming up close behind them who they're not very good teams. And we mentioned the Texans who got injuries. But I think the Jaguars need to lay down a marker because they've lost a couple of games. They've not played well. Still doubts over Trevor Lawrence's fitness.
Yeah. Mentioned them earlier. Cowboys at the Bills. Yeah. Bills need this win more than the Cowboys, but the Cowboys need this win if they want to get that week off. Like if they can find a way that the NFC goes through Dallas, that becomes much harder.
Yeah. Even if they can't get the number 1 seed, if they can win the NFC East and at least have a home playoff, because if you finish second, okay, you're probably going to be away to NFC South winner.
Yeah.
Should be an easy game, but it's just the type of games that the Cowboys would trip over on.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's absolutely mad. And
Falcons at Panthers.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. If anything's like 12-9. So the Saturday games look more fun, actually, than some of the Sunday ones, but actually I wasn't impressed with this weekend's set of games, and actually it was a really good weekend. So, it's the business end of the season. It should be good football. And because the playoffs is so mad at the moment, how many teams are at 7 and 6?
6 in the AFC.
See, yeah. And the amount of teams in the NFC that are at 6 wins is mad. So
the NFC just looks better than the AFC at the moment, doesn't it?
It does. I think this is a really odd year. I think there were...
There's so many injuries.
Yeah. But I think, even then, I think there's 3 really... Like, if you tier them, like, there's 3... I think there's 1 great team, which is you guys, the 49ers. I think there's 2, like, the next level down. I think the Cowboys and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I think there's, like, Berserkers, who, like, they're good teams, but you've got the Ravens, the Lions, the Chiefs,
Browns.
the Eagles, the Browns. Like, they could be great. They have injuries.
Yeah.
they have
I put the Eagles and the Ravens in that tier
between.
below,
Yeah.
who are like, they know how to win games.
Yeah.
And they will beat you and they will challenge you. But their form is patchy.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think the Browns could be the biggest berserker.
Yeah.
Just because
they've got
great
the defense.
And they're getting an offense somehow working with old man Flacco.
Yeah. No, they can just bloody your nose.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be surprised. Like if you'd be
the 49ers have lost them this year.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely bizarre. The Packers as well.
Yep.
Like they have found form just at the right time.
Yes.
And if they can get Christian Watson back, Aaron Jones in time for the playoffs, suddenly they become a really they've been looked like a good offense. They've got the defense as well has been pretty good. If they can get those players back, suddenly become dynamic, and you don't want to play them. Admittedly, at the moment they would go via Dallas, but actually that's. And I can see them overtaking the Vikings, which then leaves them, they aren't going to catch the Eagles, so they are going to be playing probably the other NFC North team, and they've already beaten the Lions, in the last 2 weeks, in Detroit. So that's nothing for them to be scared of. I fucking love it. I love this part of the season. It's mad.
It's brilliant.
But yeah, I think there's only a couple, 2 or 3 really good teams that I'd be putting money on.
A lot of chaos.
But the rest is chaos. And I can't work. That's the bit that I struggle to put a team.
Yeah. It's like when the Bengals got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No one fancied the Bengals going to the Super Bowl.
No.
And suddenly they're there and they're giving the Rams a really good match.
And they beat
the Chiefs.
They beat the Chiefs
and
in that.
Bills.
And the Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. They beat 2 teams. Both of them are just it doesn't matter. They'll get found out eventually.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. Brilliant. And that I hope we're going to see something like that this year.
I think the Broncos.
I think, Gary's not here.
No.
And I know he does listen to this occasionally.
So it's
the Broncos.
Lions, Super Bowl.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man. He's not going to invite us round, is he, if that's the case? Yeah.
Don't worry, it won't happen.
It won't happen. But if it does, I'm just going to be... I'd be uncontrollable. It would be worth watching it with me. But yeah, this is the really fun part. And even the Bears looking fun. It's a mad season. I love it.
Any given Sunday.
But yeah, until next week though, we've got a long week now compared to the things. But yeah, we'll see you then. Enjoy some Saturday games. See you there.